One, I want to say this is kind of like a two-part question. So, Ishka, you were able to actually work with one of my favorite actors, Chadwick Boseman,
Yeah.
and one, I want to say that's like super cool to like actually be able to talk to someone who's like really like talk with them. And I guess the question I kind of want to ask for you is like, what was that like? And then the second part of that is, what's the next role you want to see for Hassan? Because you've already worked with, a great person, and what role would you want to see Hassan in next?
So two good questions.
Mm.
Uh, Chadwick he was a force of nature.
Mm,
Rest in peace. He was.
thank you.
I met him when I was casting for a film we did
Mhm.
called The Kill Hole. We shot it in Portland, but we were casting the lead parts in L.A. And he was in a casting call. He was a TV actor,
Really?
and so he was one of maybe 50 that we looked at. And I left the audition, I think, on day two, seeing him, and I said to my producer, like, I don't care what we do, but that dude's got to be in the film. He was like that. He just, of everybody else we saw dozens of people. He was a legend. Like he walked in and he just owned it, and it was just like that. And sure enough, I think something that says a lot about him that I always remember is that I said that to my producer. We go back to the hotel, and on the way back, Chadwick's manager called.
Mm.
He called my producer Zach, and which is a little bit unusual. And he was like, Chadwick just wants to know how he did, and you're in this kind of negotiation. You can't quite say too much, even though we were just like, we're going to cast this dude. We can't quite say that yet. So we try to assure him, but it was like, it said a lot. He just wanted to know how he did. He really wants the part. He really put a lot into it. And he was that kind of guy. He was really thoughtful. And the whole experience of working with him was great. It was a really positive experience. And
Mm.
I think we and a lot of the cast crew of that film really just, we got really tight in a few weeks that we were shooting, and had, it was lasting. Like, it made an impression on all of us. And so it was like obvious to all of us. We're like, this dude's gonna be a star. Like, it was just,
Yeah.
there it is. It was like there was no doubt. And by the time that film came out, he'd already finished shooting 42, where he played Jackie
Mhm.
Robinson. And he was off to the races, man. It went from there. A couple more films, he was in Wakanda. It was something. But he was one of those gifted dudes that just from it. And he was a really good dude too. He was just a nice guy and a really thoughtful person. We had lots of really kind of long, deep conversations about stuff. That happens when you're, at least with me, with my actors. I like to talk. Like, we get into it. We really talk through things. And I just remember, he came into town, and we spent a couple hours just walking around the lake in Laurelhurst Park, just talking about the park, talking about everything, just kind of, um, and it was, so I'll always remember that, and it's the good ones always go, man. It's always the good ones. It's just too bad, because he was. I just wanted to see what he was going to do next.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, uh, but I do get to see what this brother does next. Hassan,
Yeah.
it's a good question, because I'm a little more short term with it. I'm like, well, the next thing he's going to do is more Hassan Hayes for like I feel like even just inside the show, we're just getting started. So there's just a lot more to do. There's a lot more to explore. Um, you got to understand, Hassan was not an actor. you know, uh, uh, when we met almost 10 years ago, first day we met, first conversation we had, I was like, you ever been on screen? You should be an actor. And he wasn't convinced. He didn't know me. We just met, but to me, it's the same sort of thing. You get that feeling, and it was obvious. Took a little while. Took many years. Um, so this is really his first role, but in a lot of ways, it's I feel like it's like he's been doing it for a long time. and has kind of a natural presence and gift with the camera type of thing. So possibilities are endless, but I want to do more of the show first, and then we'll see. I don't want anybody else to get their hands on him yet.
You hear that, Hassan? I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you.
I appreciate it. I think there's an agent position in there for you.
You get your 10%.
Okay, I'll take 5. I want to make sure I got the talent.
Keep on glazing.
See, I'm acting regular, but when we got guests, they like to pour it on.
Like honey.
So my last question, this last segment, and then is